Hi, boys and girls. Mrs. D here. Today, I'm going to teach you an uppercase cursive L and uppercase cursive P. Make sure you have a whiteboard and a marker like I do and a piece of cursive lined paper so that when you're ready to practice on lined paper, you are all set. Make sure you're sitting up nice and tall in your chair and that you slant your board this way if you're a righty and this way if you're a lefty. Remember, too, that kids with really neat cursive handwriting pay attention to the size of their letters, the shape of their letters, the slant of their letters, because cursive writing is slanted, and the spacing between letters in a word and also between words when you're writing a sentence. Those are the 4 keys to legibility. We left off with undercurve loop letters, 2 of them. Undercurve loop G and undercurve loop S. Today, I'm going to teach you the last undercurve loop letter, and it's L. It has a part that goes underneath the bottom line, and it starts at the midline. Undercurve loop, loop on top of the bottom line and dip under the bottom line. Now you might think that because it ends over here, it connects to other letters in the word, but it doesn't. L does not connect. Undercurve loop, little loop, dip. 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 That's your uppercase L, and my first name starts with that letter, so I'll show you what it looks like when you write it in a word. Undercurve loop, little loop, dip under. There's your L, and here's my first name written with an uppercase L, Lauren. That is your uppercase L. I'll write a few more too. Here's another name. Undercurve loop, little loop, dip. Lisa. There's your uppercase L. Let me see the strokes again because remember, this helps you remember the shape. Undercurve loop, little loop, dip under. That is your uppercase L. Let me show you uppercase P. Uppercase P is not an undercurve loop letter. It's an undercurve slant letter. It's pretty straightforward. It also starts at the midline, which is why L and P go together in the uppercase alphabet. L starts at the midline, undercurve loop, little curve, dip, and P also does. It's an undercurve slant letter. Undercurve, pull back, retrace your steps, and gets a belly. That is your P, and nothing else happens. It doesn't connect to other letters in words because it ends where the belly ends. So let me show you again. It starts at the midline, which I'll show you on line paper, but watch. Undercurve, slant back, retrace, give it a belly. Undercurve, slant back, retrace, give it a belly. Undercurve, pull back, retrace, belly. Undercurve, pull back, retrace, belly. Pretty straightforward. Now you might be wondering why I'm saying retrace. The biggest P mistake, I'm going to actually show you right now, happens when you don't retrace your steps. There should be no loop at all in your uppercase P, and you'll get a loop if you don't retrace your steps. Undercurve, slant back, retrace, give it a belly. That is your uppercase P. Here's a planet. Undercurve, pull back, retrace, give it a belly, then write the rest of the word. Pluto. There's your uppercase P. Okay, boys and girls, we are totally ready to practice now on line paper. Remember, sit up nice and tall in your chair. You should push your chair in. And you should always sit at a desk or a table to practice cursive because your posture matters when you're learning to write in cursive. Make sure your feet are on the floor in front of you and get your paper ready. If you're a righty, slant it this way. This helps you slant your writing automatically. If you're a lefty, you slant it this way. So now I can talk to you about shape and size because we're on line paper, and you'll see exactly where an L and a P begin. Both of them start at the midline. Here's L first. I'll zoom in as much as I can here so you can really focus in here. Here's L at the midline. Undercurve, loop, little loop that sits on top of that bottom line, and then dip it under and stop. Undercurve, loop, little loop, dip. Undercurve, loop, little loop, dip it under. Undercurve, loop, little loop, dip. Undercurve, loop, little loop, dip. Remember, boys and girls, everyone learns, just not in the same way and not on the same day. So saying the strokes will help. Practicing in the air with your finger will help. Practicing with your finger on your desk or tabletop will help. And so will saying the words. Tracing also helps. So when you print out your practice L sheet, trace the letters and the words first because they're all the right size and all the right shape. Undercurve, loop, little loop, dip. Undercurve, loop, little loop, dip. Which do I think is my best L on this page? This one. I think this one's my best. It's got the best slant, the best shape, and the best size. That is your uppercase L. The biggest mistake I see with uppercase L is doing this. Notice what the problem there is. There's two problems. If you said the size is wrong, you're right. This loop is too big, and I didn't dip it under. That's the biggest mistake I see with L. So watch out for that very common third grade mistake. Let me show you the right way. Undercurve, loop, little loop, dip it under. That's your L. And let's see. Some of you might play on this. Maybe. Little League baseball. I like Little League because look, it has two uppercase L's. So this is a good one for you guys to practice. Okay, let's move on to P. Like I said, P is pretty straightforward. It's not an undercurve loop letter though. It's an undercurve slant letter. So let me move that out of the way here. Watch again. It starts at the midline, and that's why the lines now are going to be important. Undercurve, pull back, retrace your steps, and give it a belly that sits right at the midline, and then you stop. You pick your pencil up. Undercurve, slant back, retrace, belly. Undercurve, pull back, retrace, belly. Undercurve, pull back, retrace, belly, and so on. That's your P. Now, I already showed you the most common P mistake I see. And this is what it looks like. That's a common P mistake, and your P should not have a loop here because you have to retrace your steps. Undercurve, slant back, retrace your steps, give it a belly. So be careful of that. This is another one, a little harder to detect. What's the mistake here? Did Mrs. D make a mistake in the size, the shape, the spacing, or the slant? If you said slant, you're right. Look at this slant here. This isn't slanted at all. If this is happening to you, boys and girls, slant your paper. Mrs. D doesn't slant the paper when I'm doing the videos. Otherwise, you're going to have to look crooked at the screen. But you should do it when you're practicing because watch, when I slant my paper, I don't need to do much to slant my writing because my paper's already slanted. And voila, I slanted it that time and it's perfectly slanted because of it. So if you're having trouble with your slant, the key is to really get a good slant on your paper. Okay, I'm going to write one really long word that starts with a capital P. And I like these really long words now because now that you know so many letters of the alphabet, it's time for you to practice your uniform spacing and your uniform slant on letters and really big words. This is a really big word that must start with a capital because it's a proper noun. Here I go. Let's see if you can read it as I go. I'll give you a hint. It's a place. Can you read it? If you said Pennsylvania, you are right. Happy practicing, boys and girls. We're almost done with all the letters of the cursive alphabet. See you next time.